Have you ever felt out of control as a parent? When I have to tell my own kids over and over again to put their shoes on, to put their phones away, finish their homework, practice their piano, brush their teeth, let me tell you, I can go from Mary Poppins to Batman really quick. If they would just do what I asked the first time, everyone's life would be a lot happier. I'm sure you've experienced similar power struggles in your own home. One of the reasons the day-to-day challenges of parenting can be so hard and frustrating is because we just plumb can't control these little humans that we've made. Every parent is on a journey to move from control to influence. We start out with almost complete control of our child's life, but by the time they're ready to face their world on their own, all we have left is our influence. The good news is, our influence as parents has been a part of God's design all along, and He has given us a powerful calling to use this unique relationship to help point our kids toward healthy and mindful interactions with the world in which they live.
One of the most powerful parenting directives in Scripture can be found in the book of Deuteronomy. Here, Moses has led the Israelites through the desert for 40 years and is preparing God's chosen people to finally enter the promised land. Remember, the original generation of Israelites had disqualified themselves from entering the home God had prepared for them. So Deuteronomy opens with Moses speaking to new, younger generation of Israelites, calling them to be faithful to their covenant with God, and specifically to be more faithful than their parents were. He first reminds them of what God has already done in leading them out of slavery in Egypt, of the 10 Commandments, and then he goes on to say,
"Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates."
There is so much we could unpack in this verse, but what we don't want to miss for today is that Moses isn't primarily talking to religious leaders. He's actually talking to parents. Parents whose families sit and have had meals together, who take their kids to schools in the morning, who tuck them in to bed at night. He's calling to parents to leverage their everyday moments to strategically plant seeds of faith in their kids' hearts.
See, parents, you have always been God's plan A to be the primary influence in your kid's life. That can feel really big and heavy. There's a quote that says, "Parenting is a lot like folding a fitted sheet. Nobody really knows how to do it." Our kids don't come with a user manual. And so this idea that we are the primary influence for how our kids develop into healthy and well-adjusted adults is a little terrifying. We feel so much pressure to get it right because the stakes are so high. With the staggering statistics around depression, anxiety, loneliness, and self-harm that our kids and teens are facing today, the stakes may be higher than they've ever been.
Here's a parenting truth that you can hold on to when the tasks start to feel heavy. Our goal as parents is not to remove every boulder from our kids' path, but to help them figure out how to navigate the rocky terrain.
So even though TikTok terms of service say your child should be 13 when they download the app, which, side note, just because you're 13 doesn't mean you should get the app. So we'll just put that out there. Anyway, I let my son have it at I think 12, maybe even 11. And it's because he's an only child, and we were in a pandemic, and it was just a fun way to connect with other kids, doing fun dances and songs and videos, and it just seemed like this great thing, right? Well, after a few weeks, his attitude, his demeanor, his mental health started to take a sharp decline. And also, he was asking my husband and I questions about politics, current events, conspiracy theories that we were like, wait, this is on TikTok? This is not what we thought. And so we had to recalibrate. I had to do some digging and some more time on the platform myself and realize very quickly that it is a very different algorithm for every different person. And if you just hover on something, even accidentally a little too long, they think you want to see more of that. And so they'll show you more and more of that. And, what are 11, 12, 13-year-olds? Curious. They want to learn a lot of things. It might be easier for them to go down a TikTok rabbit hole than to come and ask a parent. And so you may make mistakes. In fact, you will make mistakes. You will give your kids access to things that you maybe wish you hadn't. And so we had to have a conversation as a family and talk about how, while it's a lot of fun, it's also really addictive. It's also giving you misinformation. It's also negatively impacting your mental health. And so we're going to, take a break from TikTok and reintroduce it when we're all ready to reintroduce it again.
We've been talking about having to go alongside your child when it comes to technology. Well, my youngest son just turned 15. And when they turn 15, they get a permit. Now, they get a permit to drive a car. That permit, they went and took a test, a written test. He answered all the questions correctly, and they gave him a piece of plastic. Now, here's what they didn't ask. Do you have a car? Are you going to be responsible in driving that car? No, all of the onus actually landed on his mom and I. They said for the next year of his life, you're going to sit alongside your son and you're going to be scared to death in the passenger seat of that car. And while you're scared to death in the passenger seat, we're going to let him drive. Well, the same thing goes with technology. When you introduce technology or when you introduce social media, you should sit alongside your child. And believe it or not, you might be scared to death, but that's okay because that is what it's like to be a parent.
And two critical things that you'll come away from this experience with, at least, is one, you will learn more. You just will. You will learn so much more. But even more than that, you will have a stronger relationship with your child because you have spent time with them doing the things that they're interested in, playing on their turf.
This is why giving up and avoiding technology altogether isn't a realistic solution. If we shelter them from everything, they will not be able to relate to us or even lean on us when, not if, they encounter tough stuff.
Absolutely. Before we can lead our kids, we have to consider where we ourselves are as parents. What do your kids observe you prioritizing? Likes? Followers? Comments? Kids are really keen observers, but poor interpreters. Are you doing a good job helping your kids understand what you're doing when they see you on your devices? And where do you find your self-worth and confidence? What is your own intent for your online activity? Pause and ask yourself, why? Why are you posting that photo? Why are you lurking on that person's profile? Why are you feeling the need to escape stress by playing mindless games? And trust me, I'm talking to myself here just as much as you. Sometimes our choices are sinful not because of what we are doing, but why we choose to do it. Being good stewards of our own digital discipleship will set us up well as we lead our kids to learn how to do the same.
As we introduce technology into our families, it is important to have an entrance and exit strategy. Look, we have to move from control and directive to influence. When we influence our kids well, they just might in turn surprise us by how they use their own digital influence to point others on to faith.
Parents, we have powers that TikTok can't touch. And by modeling a healthy, personal relationship with technology and living lives of integrity, we give our kids a roadmap for what it looks like to represent ourselves as Christ followers to a digital world. And when we exercise this skill really well, we provide our children with genuine love and wise counsel, and that sets us up to remain a powerful, directional voice in their lives long after they leave our homes and enter the world of adulthood. As you think now about each of your children, talk about the healthy ways you need to continue to control their environments and their interactions with others. Ask yourself what other strong voices are influencing your kids and where you may need to lean in to provide extra guidance. Consider the ways you may need to keep your own digital discipleship in check as your children watch and learn from your example. At the end of it all, give yourself grace for the inevitable mistakes that you're going to make along the way. We're leading forward where no parent has gone before. So pause, take a deep breath, rest in the truth that even through our digital tools, God can do infinitely more than we could ever ask or imagine when we position our hearts and our minds towards Him.